going to be like, I can't hear me anyway.
Good morning, folks. Jeremy Larkin here. It is the inaugural, literally, not the, inaugural, as in the first ever day of the Black Desert Championship. PGA Tour is in town. They teed off at 7:40 a.m., exactly 50 minutes ago. And I will be there at 10:30 a.m. today, and I'm really excited about it. Nice. We gave away 4 tickets, 2 sets of 2 yesterday in our database. It was so fun to do that. And man, they wanted those tickets, guys. Jeremy Larkin here with the host of the St. George, better said, the real estate morning drive. There you go, Jesse.
Yep, you said it right.
Because we're not just in St. George. Here's why I paused. We're not in St. George. We're St. George, Santa Clara, Ivins, Washington City, Hurricane, La Verkin, Toquerville, also La Toquerville, La Virgin. Okay, those aren't real cities. Toquerville, Virgin, Springdale, New Harmony, Cedar City.
Parowan.
Bryan
Head.
Is it Parowan or Parowan? I always wonder.
Good question.
And by the way, guys, actually all over the state of Utah. And we are headquartered in downtown St. George, and you'll see we're live at the Larkin Group headquarters. I've got Jesse Paul with me, brother.
Good morning, everybody.
You look sharp.
Thank you.
If you could see, guys, I'm in flip-flops. I am headed to the Black Desert Championship.
You're going to golf. I'm going to go to work.
I'm actually not going to golf. I'm going to go watch golf. So there you go.
Big difference.
Large difference.
Yeah. I've never even swung a golf club on a golf course.
Yeah. It's going to be a good time. I'm actually going out, and this is so fun, guys. I'm headed out with my father, Dale, and my uncle Daryl, his twin, and many people who listen to our show know these guys. Guys,
that'll be a good day.
I want to talk for just a minute about how big this is. What's going on with the Black Desert Championship. Next week, we're going to have Macrae Heppler come on, who's a good friend of ours and is very, very, very much an expert on what is happening around Washington County.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that knows more about what's going on than him.
Yeah, he's amazing, right? We say we know this town, but I'm not certain that we do. Let me share something with you. This is an article sent to me by my father last night. Guys, we're with the Larkin Group home selling team, KW Realty. Check this article out. My father sent this to me yesterday. I've actually seen this headline. I've not read it until he sent it to me. So isn't this fun? Look up top. See, Jesse, do you see the screen up here? Are you able to see it? Oh, you're not. You're not watching on.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, see that? Kevin Streelman, Roger Sloan, Jacob Rich. So these are the actual
golfers.
These are golfers. Like all of a sudden the scoring is going to be up. You'll be able to see the full leaderboard. This is happening. This is golfdigest.com. The article is titled "The Improbable Story of the PGA Tour and LPGA Landing in the Lava Fields of Utah." I'm just going to read this first paragraph. When Mormon families were sent into the 1960s to southern Utah to establish cotton crops during the Civil War and build the town that became St. George, they faced an ominous obstacle. They and their wagons were stopped in their tracks by craggy black lava left there from the eruptions of the Santa Clara volcano. No one knows when the flows last happened, but the pioneers soon came to know that they were better off living with this extraordinary piece of nature instead of fighting it. And, drumroll please, like the Mormons 165 years earlier, Manning's first impression, talking about Patrick Manning is the guy, right? His first impression was one of awe, the black of the lava amid the scrubby desert, with the red hue of the mountains in the distance and the way the light played magically on all of it. I'm going to tell you something, guys. I have golfed since I was about 10 years old. I was born and raised in St. George. Isn't it interesting the way that color changes on that? There is nothing like this on the PGA Tour right now. And this is going to explode. And it was funny. I was chatting with someone yesterday, Jesse. I was actually talking, Macrae and I were texting last night. He said he was visiting with someone who volunteered yesterday. And the Black Desert, you need to understand, guys, this is more than they decided to host a golf tournament.
Yeah, no.
To get the PGA to come to your place, do you know how many people want the PGA Tour to come to town?
Every city in America?
Yeah, every city with a great golf course.
Yeah.
These guys the golf course was barely grown in. They didn't even have, I'm looking at Missy, Jesse's sweet little Shih Tzu. Missy is here with us, and she's looking at me and she's like, he's a little passionate right now. Am I okay? She's got the cutest freaking Can you believe the Halloween
Should we
stuff
show?
in her? Yeah. What's that? Hold her. Missy, come here. Come here. Come up on the couch. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this, guys. This is the way we roll at the Larkin Group on the air. So anyone who's watching us, facebook.com/Saint. Oh, you smell pretty good today. Did you have a shower? Facebook.com/St. George Experts. How cute is this dog?
She is. She's precious.
This is when they talk about improbable story, understand that they only started seeding this golf course, Jesse, the grass, 24 months ago. They didn't even have the buildings built 6 months ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, they didn't have this built when they got the PGA Tour to
And I'm going to
come.
Yeah.
They had the dream.
Yes, and I'm going to correct. And I'm going to shift gears. Just check this out. So we're on the Black Desert Resort website. Guys, beautiful 5-star level restaurants are open. So someone said yesterday that they were visiting with the players who came to town and they're like, we don't know what we're up for. Well, the folks at Black Desert committed that they would have the best player experience, meaning the experience for the PGA golfers that come to town on the tour. Whoever it was said, I was talking to players this morning. They're blown away, already saying, we're definitely coming back next year. The tournament hadn't started.
So they are definitely blown away.
Yeah, they're already like, this is insane.
But that's actually not surprising, because how many people actually end up in southern Utah not expecting the effect that it will have on them and are blown away, not only by the atmosphere, the scenery, but the people.
Yeah. Listen,
the whole essence of southern Utah.
I've also been involved with Ironman since 2010. I'm telling you,
they say the same thing.
Every single year, the athletes come to town, including the professional athletes who are international, very international in Ironman. And they say, there's just no better volunteers in the world. I'm going to read this. The 4-year agreement with the PGA Tour announced in 2023 was not the only deal Black Desert worked out. Just over a month earlier, the resort and LPGA, the Ladies PGA Tour, came to a 5-year agreement to stage a women's tour event in the spring of 2025. This is nuts. So guys, we're at least 4 years for the men's tour. Mm-hmm. We're 5 years for the women's tour. I'm not going to say more in the interest of time this morning. When Macrae comes on next week, we're going to hit it. But
that's going to be good.
If you missed out on the tickets, I'm sorry. We gave away 2 sets of tickets yesterday. And this is going to be, and if you haven't seen this, if you're not following, I strongly recommend, if you're on Instagram, to follow at Black Desert Resort and at Black Desert Championship, because the aerial footage that's going on, like every day I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my backyard. Literally where we grew up here in St. George, at Black Desert Resort, at Black Desert Championship. And while you're there, the Larkin Group at Larkin Group. Again, guys, we're live, facebook.com.
So Andy said that he will be giving tickets away in the next hour.
Okay, Andy, thank you, brother. Andy Griffin, who's he's in the Zoom room. You don't see him on the show, or hear him out there. But Andy Griffin is giving away tickets in the next hour here on the air, guys. KDXU Radio. This is where we're broadcasting. So if you're listening, you're either on FM or AM listening to KDXU. Maybe you're picking them up on the web feed, and maybe you're at facebook.com/St. George Experts and you're watching us live. Jesse, I want to talk about some things. Okay. I want to talk about this morning. Did we look at home values yet? Or do we want to get into that in a little bit?
Oh, we can.
We talk by zip code. I want to talk through the top 10 questions, guys. We're a real estate program, and here's what we do. We help people, real estate and community, clearly. We help folks navigate their wealth in real estate. We help folks navigate their wealth in real estate, manage their wealth in real estate. What this means is, should you buy a home? Should you sell a home? Should you refinance your home? Does it make sense to purchase a rental property? What about taking out a home equity line of credit? Well, one of the things I've learned doing a lot of radio for 12 years, and we talked about this morning, is that there are specific questions that pretty much every seller wants to know. I'm going to read them to you today. This is fun. Would you guys like to know what the top 10 things sellers want to know are? I'm going to rattle them up. And what I'm going to do is, in the next couple of minutes, Jesse, I'm going to address all of them, but briefly.
Okay.
Number one, what is my home worth? Well, is this not the number one question that any consumer asks, home seller. I mean, it's the number one question any consumer asks. How much is my home worth? And, folks, not only does everyone naturally want the most money for their home, but a lot of people are concerned about, well, how do I make the next move, right? If I'm going to sell my home here and I'm going to move into the one in X neighborhood, X city, can I afford to make the move? All right. We take our clients through a pretty analytical process. It's called a professional home equity assessment report, professional equity assessment report, or a PAIR report, professional equity assessment report. It is like an appraisal, but it's not an appraisal. And we're going to look at everything from competing properties to properties similar to yours that recently sold. And then we're going to do something really important, which is we bring in what I call the art. That's the science. The art of pricing your home is understanding what the socioeconomic and kind of the state of emotions of buyers is at that time. What is the trend? Is inventory, going up? Is it going down? All right. That's number one. That's how we go through that. And we can take you through that process. This is very different than pulling a free valuation online. You can do that. You can go to gostgeorge.com right now, GOSTgeorge.com, click on the home value link, and in 50 seconds, you'll have a report in your inbox. That's an automated report. Number two, how long will it take to sell my home? Well, Jesse, how long is it taking to sell homes really quick while you're pulling some of that data together?
Overall, it's about 50 to 60 days.
Assuming what?
Assuming, getting it on the market, getting it under contract, getting it to closing. So,
yeah.
But the time that it actually takes to get a home under contract is a lot less than that.
Well, question. So every home that goes on the market, so any seller that puts their home on the market today, they can plan to be moved in 60 days, right?
Yeah, they should.
So this is awesome. He wasn't even listening.
If they're doing it correctly.
I'm teasing him because he wasn't listening. So I said any seller that once they put their home on the market, they'll be moved in 60 days, right?
Not all of them. Only the ones that are actually planning it correctly.
Okay. What percentage? This is good. He's looking at data. This is fun. I caught him. Missy's in the frame. I love it.
So what percentage actually will move in 60 days? Probably 10%.
Good. I'm glad I woke you up there.
Yeah, probably 10%. Yeah.
Guys, not even close to everyone will be moved in 60 days.
And let me clarify why. The 60 days is the average.
Average for who? This is great.
For sellers, for all homes, it's all of them. It's averaged out.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things I'm picking at right now, I'm trying to get him to say a little bit more about this, but he's thinking about data right now because Jesse's doing data research for us. Guys, 50% of listings aren't even selling right now.
Yeah.
75% are going to reduce their price before they ever sell their home. So when we ask how long does it take to sell a home? Well, that depends on whether you worked with a professional to prepare the home for sale correctly. Mm-hmm. Did you stage the home correctly? Did you make sure that every little detail was every T was crossed and I was dotted? Did you price the home correctly? Are you working with an agent who is distributing and marketing your home across a broad platform, mm-hmm. right? Which neighborhood are you in? What price point are you in? I mean, Jesse, is it different for a $475,000 home than a 1.75?
Absolutely. Very
home?
Different. Not only is it different in the marketing and the pricing strategy, it's different in the inventory as well.
Okay. Perfect.
There's a lot more inventory in the over $1 million category than say under 500,000.
Sure. What about number 3? When is the best time to sell my home? I think that's such a great question. It's a question that comes with qualifications.
So here's the hard part. The best time to sell your home is when you actually need to.
Yeah.
But the best time to sell your home, it takes into a lot of factors that we can't know, right? Is this a better market right now than it's going to be next spring? Historically, springtime is a better time to sell, but that's only if it's a better market that you are, whatever you are currently in.
And I'm going to give you some cyclical overviews, Jesse, on that note. Your biggest selling times tend to be spring to early summer.
Yep.
A period of fall that we're in now.
Yep.
Your tougher times tend to be August and September, tend to be lower, and December, end of November, December.
Yeah, December and
You know,
first part
and
of January.
piece of January. These are cyclical. You know, St. George doesn't, in Washington County, we don't deal with big weather cycles here.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is this. We do have more people from cold climates and snowbirds come when it's cold where they are. But what we don't have is we don't have a winter that shuts us down. So,
Right.
so you understand, it's kind of an inverted weather pattern. We don't have a period where everything stops because it's too cold. We just have a period where more people come because it's hot, it's cold there.
Yeah, well, and also we have a period where it just slows down because less people are moving during those times.
Yep.
Because quite frankly, I think we have a pretty solid fall and winter
Yeah.
compared to some other markets. So it's not that it's not, you know, and buyers, if they're looking for a home during, let's say, November, December, yes, there's less buyers, but they're actually more serious too. How many people have you met that I want to be in by Christmas?
Yeah.
I want to be in by the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Look,
So it's not a bad time. I don't think there is a bad time.
buyers are purchasing homes every month of the year.
Yep.
And in Washington County, we don't have a month that's like, well, it's stopped at all. Okay. However,
There's better times.
to Jester's point, there are some highs and lows, and the best time is when you're ready. Number 4, what should I do to prepare my home for sale? Guys, we could go on for hours.
This is a big deal.
Yeah. And I would call this our expertise in our organization. We have definitely had sellers who resisted working with us because they were hoping we wouldn't tell them to do this. I'm telling you guys, some small changes could be making like $5,000 to $10,000 to $40,000 or $50,000 differences in what you take at closing.
Yep. That's a big deal. And I've said this before and I'll say it till I die. If a seller can actually step out of their emotions of this being their own home and what I call their seller brain and truly step into a buyer's sense, a buyer's mind, and look at their home, what are the things that will be nagging as that buyer walks through that house that are just going to be cash registers, cha-ching, 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 going through their head?
Yep.
Those little things will cost you thousands of dollars if you don't just take care of them. And some of them literally cost $50, $100, maybe $1,000, but they will cost you thousands if you don't.
Yeah, buyers tend to double the cost in their mind, the estimate, and sellers tend to cut it in half of what it would cost to repair it. All right, so look, guys.
And they also cut in half the need to repair it.
Of course they do. Yeah, seller does, right? So when you ask the question, what do I need to prepare my home for sale? We're going to walk you through a really detailed home preparation checklist that we work with our clients at the Larkin Group. And yeah, I mean, obviously you can Google this. That's the funny part. You could just Google, how do I prepare my home for sale? Number 5, how much will selling my home cost? Well, look, what a great question. There is no static answer.
No.
But I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to cost you between just the title fees if you were to sell the home on your own.
On your own, yep.
And this is why people often say, well, I think I'll go for sale by owner. And the thing with going for sale by owner, I want to approach this a little bit differently than a lot of agents approach this. Agents just beat up everybody who goes for sale by owner. No, the reality is the only question you have to ask is this an apples to apples comparison? Could I just sell my home for the exact same price to a buyer as a professional agent could, right? And I'm not even going to argue that. That's the big question that people don't know. So when you ask the question, what does it cost me to sell my home? Well, it's going to cost you some title fees.
Yeah, and that's no matter what you do.
Yeah, in the state
you can't
of Utah,
get out of that.
In the state of Utah, I was visiting with a client yesterday. He called me. We're selling a really gorgeous, by the way, gorgeous 0.30 acre building lot in Washington Vista and Green Spring. This thing is stunning. The area is great. It's the high end. And he reached out to me and he said, we sent him like a preliminary title report and it gave an estimate of title fees. And he said, why do I have to pay title fees for a buyer?
Yeah.
Well, in the state of Utah, it's not complex. It's just that we have a specific regulation around what you have to pay for title fees. Mm-hmm. So you're going to pay some title fees. If you work with a professional real estate agent, especially somebody who's worth their weight in salt, you're going to probably invest 3 to 6% of the sales price. And that depends on who's involved with the transaction.
Right.
All right. The last question we've got about 4 minutes today. And then on the radio, and then we're going to stay on. And let me explain what happens next. We're going to stick around after 9 o'clock when this show ends on KDXU Radio. If you want to stay involved in the conversation with us over at the Larkin Group, you want to hop on facebook.com/St. George Experts. That's St. George Experts. And we're going to keep the conversation alive. We're also going to broadcast this later. This is going to be on our YouTube channel, right? So you can easily look up the Larkin Group on YouTube. And this will be cut up into bits and pieces on our Instagram and our TikTok and our Facebook, and our YouTube Shorts. And YouTube is a place where we host all of our shows. All right. So as we wrap this up, because time is short, what do I disclose to potential buyers? I'll tell you something interesting. I signed 20 feet from me. I sat and signed closing paperwork on a home I'm selling right now, downtown St. George, the Miles home, historic Miles home on Main. And a guy I know is buying it. Nice. I would have done the exact same thing anyway. I literally walked through I filled out the seller's property condition disclosure statement, which is a
16-page document.
It's a huge document in the state of Utah. I filled out the document, but you know what I did then? I took my phone and I walked through the home and I pointed out all of the stuff that was like, look, we had some stuff here.
Yeah.
We had a leak in the front. We had a leak in the back. We tore out some of the flooring here to deal with it. Some of the floorboard was rotten. I literally walked them through with a video. Why did I do that?
Because what that actually does is it sets up more trust than you could possibly gain by saying nothing.
So there's actually 2 points. I love this. Number one is never trust. Also, how did it protect me?
Oh, it protected you because you fully disclosed everything. Not only did you disclose it on paper, you did it on a video saying, hey, this is a problem. This is a problem.
It's an old home. It was built in 1869.
And when this guy closes, he absolutely knows what's wrong with that house.
Yeah.
Everything that you know.
Said we had a roof leak. Okay, cool.
But what I love about it is how many times have you had buyers find stuff in inspections and they just get it in their head that the seller's hiding from them, they're just hiding something, and fully disclosing on that, like just as much as you can possibly call out, sets the buyer's mind at ease.
Correct.
It doesn't make sense, but it's actually true. Because you think, don't call that stuff out. No way. No, call it out.
Yeah, I sellers will often ask, do I have to disclose this? And my answer is, you sure should.
You should.
So let's wrap up, guys, in our final couple minutes.
Yeah, they're afraid that it's going to be a
1 minute.
I'll shut up.
Yeah. I'm a little more of a time Nazi.
Well, because we have a dead cutoff.
1 minute, okay? How do I find the right real estate agent? What is the current state of the housing market? Should I sell my home before buying a new one? How do offers and negotiations work? Guys, we're going to treat all 4 of those questions after the break here. So I encourage you guys, if you want to win some PGA Tour tickets, you might want to keep listening to KDXU Radio. I think that Andy's going to be giving some away. He said he is. And in the 9 to 10 a.m. Slot, we're going to keep talking about this. And then we're going to talk about home values around Washington County. So Jeremy Larkin, Jesse Paul, the Larkin Group, Keller Williams Realty. Visit us at gostgeorge.com. That is GOSTGeorge.com. Or you could do the Google, let your fingers do the walking, or just voice it. The Larkin Group, St. George. The Larkin Group, St. George. You can find us. You can contact us. We would love to visit with you and answer any questions you've got. Maybe questions you think like they're stupid. They're not. We'll answer those. All right. Over and out. The next question is, how do I pick the right agent? This is question number 6 in the top 10 questions that home sellers ask.
I'm actually going to have
question 7.
just like everything, I'm going to have an odd answer to that.
How's that?
Well, because I think a lot of times sellers will pick the most excited agent that
Define
they meet.
excited.
Well, just loving on their house, giving them the highest price. Oh my gosh, we can get this done, no problem. The one you should actually hire is the one that's maybe picking it apart a little bit, saying, hey, we need to do this, we need to do this, because he's actually the one that cares about you.
Yeah.
Or she's actually the one that cares about you.
Well, and I think that there's an important statement here.
And really getting you the best possible result.
Yeah, I think there's an important statement here to make too. You know, we say actually cares about them. Well, I mean, I'm assuming most agents care about them.
That's true, but
yeah,
the guy that shows up and feels like they're nitpicking your house, probably has the best plan.
Well, and I think what I'd say is,
and I'm saying that wrong, not nitpicking, but how do we have a process? Do we have a plan? Is there a pricing strategy that's not just, oh, hey, what do you want?
Yeah, and I really like what Jesse's saying.
I mean, that's why I said I'm going to have an odd answer, right?
Yeah, and I think that when we say care, I think what it is that I would hire the agent who has the courage to deliver likely the news you didn't want.
Yeah. Well,
right?
And that's assuming that I'm saying the other people don't care. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
The one that shows up that way is showing the most care for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that.
That's what I'm saying.
That, right?
But it can come across as negative to a seller.
Yeah.
Well, you don't like my house.
Yeah, and I love this. Yeah.
It can come across as bad energy, and what it actually is really going through the details to make sure they get the most money in the least time with the least hassle.
Correct. And 90% of that, guys, is solved on the front end before I ever put the home on the market. Yeah,
if you're doing it after, you're backpedaling.
I would look at client reviews. If they're a newer agent, they may not have a lot of reviews. I mean, obviously, if you look us up, you're going to find 450 or 20 or some crazy Google reviews, right? Or 400 something. Ironically, they're about the same. Zillow reviews. I would look at client reviews, and I would ask for marketing samples. Show me exactly what kind of homes you've been selling. I would ask, do you have a database to work from? Meaning, do you have people already in your back pocket that you can market to? How do you market those people? I would ask questions like, how do you capture the inquiries on my home? Meaning, when someone drives by and they make a phone call or they visit on the website and they reach out, they ask a question about my home. How do you capture them? How do you follow up with them? How do you convey information to them? I would ask your agent, do you have redundancy? Because Mrs. Agent, I want you to be able to go on vacation and live and have a life with your family, except my home is for sale 24/7. So, not 24/7, right. But you get my point. Who's going to handle this? Do you have redundancy? These are the questions I would ask to pick the right agent. Okay. Is that fair?
Yeah, it is.
Number 8, what is the current state of the housing market? Well, we're going to hit that just briefly, but first of all, this is fickle, right, Jesse?
Very fickle.
So, current state of the housing market, how would you define it? How would you define the current state of the housing market on 10/10/2024?
Sluggish.
Yeah, sluggish is right. Yeah, and I would just define it as shifting also.
Yeah, shifting. And what we mean by that is it's taking a little bit longer to figure out, okay, where is it that we can find a buyer? What price? What we thought or what could be is not currently where buyers are at, right? What was is not what is. Now I'm starting to sound like Harris. What was is not what is.
Wow. Is that a thing that she says?
Something like that. It sounds like I'm talking out both sides of my face.
Wow. That's awesome.
But
I didn't even know you followed that.
I follow all this stuff a little bit. I'm starting to, because I'm.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was funny. Anyway, so it's not easy to figure out at what price can we find a buyer. That's why 50% of the homes are coming off the market, not sold.
Yeah.
Because this is a good way to put it. So many people will put their home on the market just testing to see what they can get. Yeah. This is not I don't really have to move kind of market.
Well, and one of the conversations that we're having with a lot of folks who had their home on the market and is coming off what we call expired listings. I was chatting with Brian on our team, and he said, I'm talking to a lot of people who said, well, the market just sucks. I'm not going to get the price I want, so I'm not going to sell it. Well, and I think the misfortune in that conversation, not in him, but I think that the misfortune in what people are saying is it's to say that because I can't get what I thought I wanted, that the market's bad. And I think we have to remember something. And I'm going to give a mathematical analogy. If I paid $300 for a home and it went to $600, but today it's $540, I'm not losing. Right? Yeah. And I know this sounds like, well, duh. Folks, if you think this is a duh, I'm going to tell you something. I speak with sellers every week who think like this, right? Yeah. Because we saw what could have been. Mm-hmm. And when we see what could have been, like, oh my gosh, it was worth $600. I should have. Maybe you should have. However, let me remind you of something. Had you sold at peak, you would have purchased at peak, right? And so I think it's one of the greatest services that real estate agents can offer for clients right now who are disappointed is to bring perspective back into their life.
Here, I was thinking about something this morning, and I have a few clients right now that are finding themselves trying to justify why their homes should be priced correctly right now, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I realized that if you're finding yourself in justification, you're probably not where buyers are at.
Correct.
Right? And it's such a fine line. That's really harsh reality to face.
Well, and Jesse, here's why this is so important. This is not a situation where all the buyers come to us as your listing agent and say, is this a good price? The reality is
they come with an opinion.
Well, here's something, but here's more important. But they don't come to us.
Yeah, that's true.
See, when we list your home, we don't have an interaction with the buyers. Do you know buyers tell us that your home is overpriced? They don't offer.
Yeah. They go buy something else.
Or they buy something else. And so this is where people get so confused, is feeling like, yeah, but
my home's better, but
this doesn't change anything.
It's a tough one.
This but doesn't change anything because buyers aren't buying the home. So look, state of the real estate market, it is in a shift. Mm-hmm. And perspective is what realtors need to be providing their clients. Number 9, should I sell my home before buying a new one? Well, there's pros and cons to that question, to that equation.
So here's where I say yes. We're in a market right now, probably more than any other time in the past 10 years, where a buyer will wait till they get a home under contract and then they'll put their house on the market. Here's the problem with that. They do that based on the best case scenario. And then all of a sudden they find out, oh shoot, I can't actually get what I want for my home. Can I actually perform over there? We've seen more cancellations than any other year.
Certainly.
Because of that fact. Instead of going, okay, what's the actual worst case scenario? Can I still buy this house?
Correct.
And they almost get upset if you try to talk to them that way. Instead of going, hey, we can't control this. The buyers actually control the price of your house.
Yeah, we look
like we can make it. We can put lipstick on it. We can dress it up, make it look like it's going to the prom, and nice yet they still have to get asked to dance when they get there.
Yeah,
right. And so that's one of the biggest mistakes in waiting to put your home on the market, right? What if you were to put your home on the market, figure out, okay, what's the market for my house? Protect yourself. You go under contract, protect yourself. Hey, I've got to find a home. And then go out, okay, now what can I afford? Mm-hmm. Can I afford to buy another home? And if you can't, then you don't move.
I love that answer. And I'm going to say this. We will protect you legally. And what I mean by that is contractually. We're going to protect your earnest monies. We're going to protect your interests using contract law, using Utah,
you're not going to be homeless. There is ways around being homeless.
Correct. Last thing, how do offers and negotiations work? This is kind of a fascinating one. I want to hit it really quick, and Jesse, you can chime in and give me your feedback. One of the first things that we do, at least, and this is question number 10, top 10 questions that sellers ask realtors and want to know the answer to. The first thing that we do is we provide a written summary of the offer in English. And the reason I say this is I think it's not only step one in our process at the Larkin Group. It's step one because the Utah real estate contract is 6 pages.
Yeah, 6 pages of legal.
Well, and that's
jargon.
Before addendums start getting added.
Right.
Addendums because it's subject to the sale of a home. An addendum about some complicated financing and closing costs. Addendums about this, that, and the other.
A subject to sell. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much.
A real estate contract can become, by the time you negotiate for a while, it can become 10 or 15 pages. Okay.
Yep.
So the first thing is it needs to be spelled out in English. Number two, one of the pieces of counsel that we give our sellers, we never reject an offer. We always counter. Often, in many cases, buyers are like, they're fishing.
Here's what I find funny. So many sellers will not counter what's called a low ball offer.
And they won't counter because they're offended.
I think that's so hilarious because buyers don't get offended over an overpriced listing, right? Like they don't. They just come in and they don't do anything. So I can't tell you how many times I've used techniques to actually make the lowest offer become the best offer. Some people simply have to try. And by not responding at all, you could have lost the absolute best buyer you could have found.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen time and time again because I will definitely encourage a seller, do not reject this. Don't not ignore it. Let's counter and let's just start the dance.
Yeah. I really agree with that. Agents, your job is to remain unemotional. Your job is to maintain composure. Your job is to continue to provide and reiterate perspective. All right. And as we wrap this show up, and how do they work? Well, they write an offer if you're a seller, right? The buyer sends you a written offer. We respond in writing. They respond in writing. When all parties have agreed, we have a signed and executed contract. We have to make sure that the back and forth is tied together, that the dates line up, right? And so on and so forth. Earnest money is air quotes exchanged, but it's actually not delivered to you as a seller. It's usually delivered to a title company or a real estate trust account, right? We take that contract once it's accepted. We help title and mortgage companies process that through. A lot of parties, there are 188, they say there are 188 types of, or 180 something, was it 88 types of turbulence and 180 different tasks in a real estate transaction?
Yeah.
Our job is to help you through that and get you out unscathed.
So I want to run through a scenario with you that I just ran into the other day. There's so many people that want to test the waters right now with a verbal, hey, let's verbalize this right now.
I had one over the weekend.
And so there was this scenario, 6 different buyers were trying to verbally feel out the seller. And the agent kept saying, hey, put something in writing and I'll present it. Put something in writing and we'll get it going. Put something in writing. All of them waited the weekend.
Yep.
Any one of them could have put an offer in and had that under contract by Sunday night. Monday rolls around, all 6 of them write an offer. Now they're in a multiple offer situation. The seller's in dreamland, and it's all because, number one, the buyers wouldn't pull the trigger. Number 2, the agents didn't say, hey, like, man, this isn't working. We need to get an offer in right now. So now they're all 6 having to compete against each other.
Oops.
In a market that's not really normal for multiple offers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Look, I mean, absolutely. It's not normal. This is not a multiple offer type market.
It's not, but it's also, if a home's priced correctly, it's also not a time that you should waste.
No, not at all. So guys, as we wrap this up, the segment, right? Jeremy Larkin here with the Larkin Group, KW Realty, Jesse Paul. Hey, look, there are lots of questions. Those are top 10 that sellers ask. There are probably 20 more, right? There might be 50 more. And inside a transaction from start to finish, there could be 25 more, right? Or who knows how many. If you have those questions and you want them answered specifically for you, your scenario, visit gostgeorge.com or Google the Larkin Group. Jesse, let's just wrap up with a couple high points on values. What are we seeing for average values right now, median home values in the market in Washington County as we wrap up? And then I'm going to go to the Black Desert Championship.
All right. Let me just pull it up again.
Yeah. So I think, there's a lot to think about in a real estate transaction. It's just a lot, you guys. I don't know what else to say about it.
In Washington County, we're looking for an average of about 521.
521 Washington County.
In Washington County, yep.
Okay.
Iron County would be about 100 grand less than that, right around 4-ish.
So look at that, guys. Washington County 521, Iron County just above 4. It's why a lot of people are looking at Iron County.
Yeah. We're getting to and here's what's interesting. As you start, is space between 2 cities starts to fill in, it gets closer and closer and closer. We're in a time now where it's so expensive in St. George, and as that space starts to spread out, Cedar's coming south, St. George is going north, it's not really that far of a drive.
Well,
and we're getting a lot of people also that are coming in from bigger cities. Everywhere you go is 45 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say 45 minutes to Cedar City
is not bad.
Very easy. It's easy.
So if you can save yourself $100,000, does it actually make sense?
So if you cannot afford St. George, Washington County, my question is very simple. Have you looked at Iron County and Cedar City? It's a simple question. The interesting part about that, Jesse, is that the 2 areas are so different weather-wise.
They are.
45-minute difference.
Yeah.
Cedar City is going to get dumped on with snow in the winter.
Yep.
And be cold. St. George is just going to have a high desert cold winter.
Yeah,
right?
we're going to be cold, but we're not going to have much snow.
It's 2 different worlds, right? Okay, what else should people know today? So that's the first question. If you can't afford Washington County, have you looked at Iron? Okay. What else are you seeing data-wise? What else is grabbing your attention?
What's interesting to me is as we talk about being in a sluggish market, interestingly enough, this year we stayed stable as far as pricing goes. We started the year out with an average home price of $519, and right now we're at $521. So we've gone up a little bit.
Yeah.
But most of that was in the spring, and then we settled back into
correct.
Right. So our values have dropped over the last couple months, but they seem to have stabilized for now. We'll see if that trend continues with it being sluggish. I don't know where it's going to go, but right now, the last 30 days or so has been pretty stable price wise.
Well, and here's the one thing I want to say as we wrap up today, Jesse,
I have one other comment.
No, go ahead.
One other interesting thing, because with what we're talking about, you would think that sellers are just getting their butts kicked. Here's what's interesting. Once they hit the right price, they're actually getting a pretty reasonable amount for their house, 98%. That's actually reasonable.
So
a
valuable.
reasonable
That
offer.
piece of information.
Within 2% of your asking price once it goes under contract. Now, it might be 94% of their original, but once they hit the right price where they can actually get an offer, they're getting pretty solid offers.
Mm-hmm. I think that is very worth considering, right? Because you're going to hear bad news. You know, Zillow is saying, Jesse, you're going to hear a lot of bad news in the news. Zillow is projecting 4.1 million home sales by the end of this year. If that were true, that would actually be up. That would actually be up by 0.4% from last year. So the point is, it would be about like last year.
Yeah.
But I will say this: if it's felt sluggish, especially to real estate professionals, realize that we hit the lowest number of pending home sales this summer since 1995.
Yeah. Which is a problem because in
we felt that.
In 1995, our population was a quarter what it is now.
Yeah, I mean, we felt it. Amen. Great point. Guys, Jeremy Larkin, Jesse Paul, the Larkin Group, KW Realty. Visit us at gostgeorge.com or Google the Larkin Group. We wish you the very best. I hope that you watch some golf. And if you don't watch it live, which most won't, it's going to be televised on the Golf Channel every afternoon, 3 to 6 p.m.
Thanks for having us.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, over and out.